Measures are to be put in place to ensure that local businesses do not lose out on government contracts. News of this has come as the Senate debated the supplementary appropriation bill, which is to allocate nearly $24 million to the newly established Ministry of Industry, Small Business and Rural Development. Leader of Government Business, Senator Maxine McLean, told the chamber there had been questions over the furnishing of a new school. She said the issue had been discussed with cabinet colleagues.
The discussion we had with the minister was, first of all, what is the expected build-out of new schools and the repair of schools requiring furniture over the next X years? How do we explore with persons in the manufacturing sector, existing and even potential, the opportunities that there are, the challenges that they may face in meeting the constraints that would be imposed, whether it's price constraints, quality constraints, time constraints, etc.
Senator McLean says government departments must find ways of providing information to local businesses.
Information on the kinds of volumes, the quality, the standards, the timelines, the cost constraints, whether it is funding by an external agency, the requirements of tendering, etc. And so therefore, what we sought to secure from the Minister of Education, that is myself, and more importantly, the Minister of Industries, Small Business and Rural Development, was that there will be an opportunity for all critical stakeholders to sit down and articulate how this could work to the benefit.
Government has been warned to be cautious when borrowing money from the National Insurance Scheme. Independent Senator and businessman Senator Jeffrey Cave feels this will put pressure on the scheme.
It's an area that is more and more national insurance has taken up government paper, and it is a concern as to what, and I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm guessing it must be maybe north of 70% now, or north of 2/3 of their fund, which is going in that direction. And to me, in a pension world, that is getting a little bit far.
Senator Cave has also welcomed government's policy for promoting the use of alternative energy. He, however, believes that there should be more incentives.
For private people, the investment is duty-free, but VAT is on it, and there's no way for a private person to recoup VAT. So a system that would go into not an average household, but a household worth $40,000 will have to pay $7,000 in VAT. So we're not getting VAT now. So if we could do without the VAT and we could do without the duty, that could seriously help us and make householders move in this direction.
Chairman of the National Insurance Scheme, Jepter Inch, has been defending government's decision to borrow from the National Insurance Scheme. He told the Upper House not to view the $110 million being borrowed by government as the NIS investing in statutory corporations.
The NIS is not investing in Transport Board. It is not investing in any of the entities that were mentioned. What government is seeking to do is to borrow that money's guaranteed by the ministry, like anything else, and that monies would be used to effectively, and I said efficiently, manage the operations of some of these entities as mentioned.
Senator Ince reminded that the NIS has an investment committee and a board of directors who have clear guidelines to follow when making decisions on borrowing and investing. But at the end of the day, he believes that the government remains the best investor for the NIS.
Whether the Barbados Labour Party or the Democratic Labour Party is in office, the best partner for NIS is the government and the people of Barbados. Let us look at the investments that are now outside of Barbados that the NIS currently holds and do a comparative analysis of the returns on those investments compared with the interest rates that is being paid by the government of Barbados to finance loans from the NIS.
Well, the Barbados Workers' Union is still contemplating industrial action against LEAT. About a week and a half ago, BWU General Secretary Sir Roy Trotman had given the airline a deadline to rehire its Barbados staff. Sir Roy says LEAT's chief executive officer had responded with an apology, but little has happened since. The union boss says LEAT will soon be hearing from him on what action will be taken.
We don't take any joy in it because LEAT has its own level of suffering. And added to that, it has been having all kinds of operational difficulties, some of which I've suffered at firsthand as a traveler. And I don't necessarily need to add to that, but LEAT has to respect people and not just one or two who may be pursuing their own personal agendas.
Parents and guardians who were depending on Hooper Garments to outfit their children with new school uniforms for the new term can breathe easier today. A court decision delivered this morning cleared the way for the garment factory to resume business after a 4-week closure in which padlocks were put on the Pelican Industrial Park premises. Over 100 customers were left stranded by the closure. However, supervisor at the factory, Cynthia Gaskin, says she expects Hooper Garments will be up and running this Friday.
There's over 100 and somebody customers that are waiting uniform. Some would have paid down half the amount, 50%, and some would have paid the whole amount. It's hard work because those that haven't started yet, you have to start from scratch. And we also have people that bought their material to get uniforms made. So, by the help of the Lord, we'll do it.
Ms. Gaskin says the plan is to work overtime to meet the demand.
Across the Caribbean is brought to you with the compliments of CIBC First Caribbean.
United States District Judge Robert P. Patterson has dismissed the motion by lawyers representing alleged drug Jamaican kingpin Christopher Dudas Coke to throw out the wiretap evidence against him. U.S. prosecutors are depending heavily on the information captured by tapping Coke's phones to convict him on charges of conspiracy to distribute marijuana and cocaine and conspiracy to traffic in firearms. The prosecutors say the telephone conversations have Coke planning drug and firearms deals, but Coke's lawyers have argued that the wiretaps were shared with the U.S. law enforcement agencies are illegal and that their use would be in breach of his rights under the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The United States is providing assistance to law enforcement agencies in St. Lucia under a new initiative aimed at curbing crime on the island. External Security Minister Guy Mears and members of the St. Lucia Police Force met with the U.S. delegation headed by Robert Olson of the Police Executive Research Forum of Washington on the proposed community policing initiative. Mears, who has just returned from the Bahamas, where he attended a regional meeting on community policing, said he expects that the new strategies would be implemented as part of the new crime-fighting initiatives. The U.S. team will visit various police stations across the island to discuss the new initiative. Chief Secretary of Trinidad's ward island of Tobago, Orville London, is expressing concern about the economic impact the state of emergency can have on the tourist island. Mr. London told a special media briefing that while Tobago is not under lockdown, the country's image is on the line. He also believes visitors will take no notice of Tobago because they will feel unsafe. Barbadians and their Caribbean neighbors are being warned to be wary of the emergence of national universities in the region. The caution comes from head of the Social Sciences faculty at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Dr. George Bell.
We have to be very careful about this proliferation of so-called national universities. If it has been so difficult for the people of the Caribbean to support a university of the quality of the University of the West Indies, what is going to happen if we have a whole range of national universities which obviously are not going to have the resources that the University of the West Indies can accumulate to itself? What you're going to have is a third and fourth rate university.
Dr. Bell was speaking at the presentation ceremony for a research grant that will be used for a study on microfinancing. But we'll hear more about that in the business report.
across the Caribbean, brought to you with the compliments of CIBC First Caribbean.